This is PNW TV News and I am Boitumelo Monare. A warm welcome to our viewers. First tonight, the Northwest Department of Education plans to host its National RCL Conference, and 16 confirmed cases of monkeypox recorded as the death toll increases. Also ahead this evening, Indian Prime Minister Modi plans to visit Moscow. And in the sports, we hear from Proteas coach Rob Walter ahead of the T20 World Cup. Good evening, and it's great to be back with you on this very busy Wednesday night. We begin tonight as the Department of Basic Education prepares to host a National RCL Conference on the 27th and 28th of June at the Lakes Hotel in Benoni. The theme of the conference is equipping learners with knowledge and skills for the changing world. MEC Viola Mutsumi congratulated the learners, saying the structure is important to represent the interests of all learners in the Northwest Province. The president of the Provincial Representative Council of Learners is Buntle Motatsa from the Ngakamudiri Molema district. The deputy president is Koketso Makauta of the Dr. Kenneth Kahunda district, and the secretary of the council is Juan Sejano of Dr. Ruth Sekgomotse Mompati, while deputy secretary is Baswabile Mateu from Bojanala district. Treasurer is Confidence Manehe, also from Bojanala district, along with Floyd Changoto from Dr. Ruth Sekgomotse Mompati. Now, Mutsumi and her office are also in high spirits as she was re-elected to serve a second term as MEC of Education in the province. Here is Mr. Andy Liburu, the Northwest Provincial Chairperson for the National Association of School Governing Bodies, with their congratulatory message to the MEC.
On behalf of the Association of School Governing Body Northwest, we'd like to thank the MEC for Education, Viola Mutsumi, for having been again on the trench. We want to thank for having served the department with passion, and we want to also appreciate for having been seen as a person performing the outstanding performance in the department. We thank her for selfless and a dedicated work that he has done through the difficult time. He has never lose focus and fall into a trap of abandoning an important program of building the schools, supporting the SGB, and supporting the district directors of department and all role players. We have been working together with her. And we want to say, keep up the good work that we have done. The spirit of the leader will never be forgotten. Keep the spirit up and Aluta continue.
More news from the Dr. KK district, where the municipality of Matlosana has confirmed that its executive mayor, Councillor James Solela, tendered his resignation letter to the office of the speaker on Monday, the 24th of June. A special council meeting was held on the 25th of June to discuss the adoption of the budget and the resignation of the executive mayor. The matters were tabled and the council duly accepted Solela's resignation. The acting municipal manager, Mr. Bakhanne Choche, has been mandated to declare the vacancy of the executive mayor in council in terms of the Electoral Regulations and Municipal Structures Act 117 of 1998, as well as to inform the Independent Electoral Commission in writing. A representative of the municipality, Nick Mapiele, speaks.
The office of the executive mayor of the city of Matlosana hereby confirms that executive mayor councillor James Solela has resigned effective from Monday the 24th of June 2024 as executive mayor. The mayor would like to thank all councillors and officials in the community for the support they have given to him during his tenure as mayor. Thank you.
Now in other news, the Boitumelo local municipality, together with the Department of Social Development, has launched a local drug action committee. The launch took place at the Ganyesa Auditorium. The acting mayor, Councillor Boitumelo Monare, presented appointed letters to members nominated to serve on the committee. The mayor said the municipality welcomes this initiative, which seeks to resolve the most challenging social ills facing society, including drugs and substance abuse. Now in this next story, monkeypox continues to plague the country as there are now at least 16 confirmed cases in South Africa. The Health Department has announced that there are more people have been contracted with the disease, with one fatality. A 40-year-old male from Ladysmith in KZN passed away in his home. Health officials say he presented monkeypox-like symptoms, including a rash all over his body, but unfortunately did not go to the hospital on time. His test results came back positive on Sunday. Now, the other two cases have been confirmed in Gauteng on patients with no international travel history. The Health Department has now allayed fears of possible travel restrictions or lockdowns. And with that, it is now time for the international news. On the international front, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Russia for the first time since the Kremlin's invasion of Ukraine, in a trip that highlights the growing ties between the two countries despite New Delhi's close relationship with Washington. Russian President Vladimir Putin's foreign affairs aide Yuri Yushakov confirmed Modi's visit was being prepared for but did not announce a date. Modi last met Russian President Vladimir Putin on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Uzbekistan in 2022. This is where Putin spoke on the strategic relationship between the two states.
The relations between Russia and India are developing. They have the nature of a strategic privileged partnership, and they continue to develop very rapidly. We are actively engaging at international platforms. We're in discussion on all the international issues. Sometimes these issues are something that is not very good news. I know about your position on the conflict in Ukraine, and I know about your concerns. I know that you share these concerns, and we want all of this to end as soon as possible. But the other party, the leadership of Ukraine, has claimed that they refuse to engage in negotiating process. They said that they want to achieve their objectives, as they say, on the battlefield militarily. We will keep you abreast of everything that is happening over there. We are actively working with you on the SCO platform, and our today's meeting and our today's summit is a very good testament to that. It's important that we constantly coordinate our positions in spite of the coronavirus-induced restrictions. We spoke 4 times on the phone, and our teams are in contact as well. I would like to thank you for the video address to the participants of the Eastern Economic Forum that took place in Vladivostok. I have very warm memories of my last visit to Delhi in December last year, and I would like to take this opportunity to invite you to visit Russia. We have constructive relations in economy. Our trade is growing, in particular thanks to the supplies, as per your request, additional supplies of Russian fertilizers to the Indian market. The supplies of Russian fertilizers have grown more than 8-fold. So it's not just several percents, it's more than 8-fold. I am hopeful that this is going to be of huge help to the agricultural sector of India. They will be able to provide with food all the population of the country. We are also steadily implementing projects in oil, gas, in the nuclear energy. Russia is traditionally interested in the rich history and culture of India, and that is why we suggest that we should intensify the negotiations on the visa-free tourist exchanges. We could also think about holding cross-years of Russia and India in 2024.
New Delhi has repeatedly abstained from votes condemning Russia at the United Nations and has avoided public criticism of Moscow's war in Ukraine. India remains heavily reliant on the Kremlin for its military equipment, a vital link given India's ongoing tension at its shared Himalayan border with China. And it has ramped up purchases of discounted Russian crude oil, giving Putin's nation a major financial lifeline as it faces global isolation. We go now to Kenya, where President William Ruto is urged to reconsider a contentious finance bill that would hike taxes in the country. Several people have been killed on Tuesday after police fired live rounds at protesters trying to storm Kenya's parliament.
Guys have made it into parliament. They have made it inside the parliament.
The head of the Kenya Medical Association said at least 13 people have been killed. Now, in a press briefing, Ruto warned that his government would take a tough line against violence and anarchy, as legitimate protests have now been hijacked by criminals.
Today, Kenya experienced an unprecedented attack on its democracy, rule of law, and the integrity of its constitutional institutions. An otherwise legitimate expression of the fundamental rights and freedoms of assembly, demonstration, picketing, and petitioning of public authorities by a section of law-abiding citizens of the Republic of Kenya was infiltrated and hijacked by a group of organized criminals. Most regrettably, today's attack on Kenya's constitutional order has resulted in the loss of lives, also destruction of property and desecration of institutions and emblems of our sovereignty. Today's events mark a critical turning point on how we respond to grave threats to our national security. I assure the nation that the government has mobilized all resources at the nation's disposal to ensure that a situation of this nature will not recur again at whatever cost. I thank our security officers who were on duty today for applying themselves to the best of their abilities in the defense of Kenya and its people. Accordingly, I have directed all the organs of our national security.
The military has been deployed in Kenya to support the police in tackling the security emergency in the country. Now that's it from the leading stories. It is now time for the business news. Former Reserve Bank Deputy Governor Kuben Naidu has warned that load shedding could return if mining production is ramped up over the coming months. Load shedding has been suspended for about 3 months now, with the government taking credit for the reprieve seen by households and businesses. But Kuben told delegates at the Operation Vulindlela conference in Rosebank on Tuesday that the poor performance in the mining sector also had the unintended consequences of keeping the lights on. The mining sector continues to be under significant strain. A lower demand for commodities, an increase in input costs, as well as infrastructure challenges have worsened the sector's productivity. A PwC report says the record levels of performance and shareholder returns seen during the post-COVID rebound have also started to fade off. This means the energy-intensive sector is putting less strain on the power grid. The Operation Vulindlela conference wrapped up earlier today. And that was the business headline. Let's now get the latest in sports. The top sports story, Proteas coach Rob Walter says his T20 World Cup Proteas squad is filled with players who know how to win the game. The Proteas will face Afghanistan in the semi-final on Thursday at 2:30 a.m. The Proteas qualified for the semi-finals after beating the West Indies by 3 wickets. The Proteas remain unbeaten in the World Cup. Afghanistan sealed their place in the last 4 with a nail-biting 8-run victory against Bangladesh on Monday. Afghanistan will be playing the last 4 of any World Cup for the first time. South Africa are still without a major global title, with just the 1998 Champions Trophy to show for all their endeavors. This is what Rob Walter had to say during the pre-match conference.
As you said, at times in the past you missed out on some close moments. I know you are elite sports people and you don't want to say that, but luck does play a big part in those matches. Luck.
I don't think you can win a cricket game because of luck. I think potentially a few things can go your way, but there's a few things that might not, So skill will always trump luck, that's for sure. So I'd like to think that that's the case.
And with all these close wins, you feel this might finally be the time for South Africa?
Definitely. It's always great to dream, and I think everyone in South Africa dreams of the time when a trophy gets lifted. No doubt that will happen. Whether it's going to be this week, that remains to be seen. We're just going to try and play the best game of cricket that we can, and we still haven't played our best game yet.
Do all the previous close ones, the near misses, do they weigh on your mind when you go into a semi-final?
Look, I've said, the near misses in the past are, they belong to the people who missed them, to be honest. This team is a different team. We own whatever it is ours to own. And so, our nearest reflection point is this tournament where we've managed to get over the line. So that's what we think about.
And specifically about tomorrow, what can we expect from the conditions, the pitch?
Unsure. I think I suppose the most positive thing about our campaign is that we've kind of encountered it all, to be honest. We've played in very different conditions. We've played on pitches that have given us something different every time. And we've been able to respond to the conditions pretty well. So tomorrow will be just the same. I think if you arrive with a preconceived idea about how the pitch will play, then you've already decided, we'll make an assessment of what's in front of us and then play the best cricket accordingly.
And just on Riza's form, is that a big concern coming into these 2 big matches, or are we looking at the same combinations?
Yeah, Riza's form doesn't bother me at all. He's a quality cricketer. It was just, 3.5 weeks ago that he scored a magnificent 80 against the West Indies, man alone performance really. Over the last year and a half, he's been unbelievable, even beyond that in T20 cricket, to be fair. So he's a wonderful cricketer, and that good batsmen are just one shot away from contributing to the team, and that's all we're interested in, is giving him the freedom to do that.
Afghanistan coach Jonathan Trott also spoke to the media ahead of the game.
Jonathan, at the start of the tournament, you were asked whether there were a few critics, of course, who thought that Afghanistan had a fair shot of making it to the semi-finals. You gave a very guarded reply then. What's your response now?
Well, obviously they were right and they could see into the future. But obviously delighted, looking forward to the match against a strong South African side. We've played a game at Trinidad, so we've been there. There's familiarity about the ground and the conditions. So yeah, looking forward to it. And it's not every day you get to play in a World Cup semi-final. Obviously, this is the first time for Afghanistan. Very proud. But I know those guys are very excited to go out there and and to play against South Africa. We had a good game against them in the 50-over World Cup where we were, it was neck and neck for a while. They obviously won the game, but we're looking forward to matching up against them.
Right. Jonathan, congratulations first of all. If I can congratulate you on behalf of the whole Afghan nation, what would be the 2 or 3 learning points from this game that you think you could take into the semi-final against South Africa?
I just think batting, we've got to be better all around. We left a lot of runs out there. Yes, it wasn't the greatest of wickets, but so many times just bat on ball. We just missed so many balls where we could have got singles or perhaps looked to hit it in the gaps. But just a little bit of nous or experience. I'm not sure if it's a little bit of nerves. But heck, you know, we're in the semi-final now, nothing to lose. You know, very, very positive from now on in. But by no means do we feel like we're going into the semi-final just to compete. We're there to win the semi-final. We've beaten some major teams. We've won by large margins. We've won by tight margins. We've won in close games. So that's going to serve us well going forward to the semi-final.
Now in soccer news, following a disappointing 2023-24 season that saw Chiefs finish 10th in the Premier Soccer League, the club is undergoing a revamp. As part of this overhaul, several players are set to be released, indicating that the trio will effectively be free agents on July 1st. Sfiso Hlanti, Keegan Dolly and Siyathemba Sithebe will all be leaving Kaizer Chiefs at the end of the week, following a decision by the club to not retain their services ahead of the new season. Hlanti joined Amakosi from Morocco Swallows, playing a total of 62 matches for the Glamour Boys, and 24 of those came during the previous season. Dolly joined Chiefs as a free agent in 2021, making a total of 67 appearances, scoring 14 goals with 11 assists. Sithebe, on the other hand, joined Chiefs from AmaZulu, making 39 appearances for the club. Now, with the anticipated arrival of Tunisian coach Nesserine Nabi to take over the helm, it is expected that he will introduce additional adjustments to the squad. Now that'll be interesting to see what those adjustments will be. But for now, from me and the team, thanks for being with us. My colleague Ritabile will be back tomorrow night. Until then, bye-bye.